be changing the regulations. So I just thought, I wonder how many people actually don't really pay attention to this fully. Maybe you're hearing it, you're reading it, and you're like, yeah, that's great, but you really don't understand where these red dyes can hide, and that you actually might be one of those people that is consuming them or giving them to your children.
I appreciate everybody's comments on the no sound. Thank you for that. You guys should be able to hear us now loud and clear.
What happened?
Your intro was totally muted.
Oh.
What?
Wow,
Bummer.
the whole thing? Okay, let's start all over.
Just make it quick. Let's
Thank
go.
you for joining us today, guys. Okay, so what if we told you that something that you may be consuming every day has been linked to health concerns, including potential carcinogenic effects, hyperactivity in children, allergic reactions, and possibly cancer?
Oh, God.
Pretty scary. So today we're going to talk all about it, and it's red dye. And it is a current event for us in the U.S. right now. And that's what really brought us to want to talk about this, because our daughter had to do a current events article that we worked on, a current events paper over the weekend. And she chose to do an article on red dye. And it really made me think, like, I know my kids are very, like, they understand red dye, and it's because of us. But I think about how many people hear about the red dye and they think they may be avoiding it, but you also don't really know where it hides.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
So we want to go into the detail. Okay, so what is red dye? So we're going to start, right? Red dye refers to any coloring agent, either natural or synthetic, used to impart a red hue to foods, cosmetics, textiles, or other products. The term can encompass a wide variety of substances categorized in two main types. So we have our natural and our synthetic. So our natural red dyes, the ones we want, are typically come from beetroot extract or annatto. Yeah. There was another one that said carmine, which is made from an insect, actually, that's been used for centuries. But the beetroot extract, we know it's a plant-based dye used in foods and beverages. We know it comes from the beetroot. We use that in our super reds. I have these up here because they're red. Our super reds and our E3. Yeah. And then annatto is extracted from the seeds of the, you know how to say it? Achiote tree that produces a reddish orange color. Annatto extract is in our children's gummy multivitamins. So then we have the synthetic dyes, which is really what we're honing into today. And it's specifically our red 40 and red 3. Those are the ones that are really in the hot seat. Those are the ones that are known to cause the most adverse side effects. So red 40, red 3. All right. Anything to add to that?
Just that, if we're talking about red dyes, we're really talking about being aware of, like, unnatural substances that are in our food and water, food, of course, supplement, and prescription drug supply too. Yeah. Really, I mean, what do you think gives that amoxicillin capsule its color, or or it's the Tylenol suspension or whatever?
Right. So before we go into everything about where we could actually find these dyes lurking, we'll talk about the negative side effects, so you can really understand why these are big health concerns. Red 40. Okay, allergic reactions, skin rashes, hives, swelling, particularly for those sensitive to dyes. Okay, some people don't have that sensitivity. Hyperactivity in children. And I hate this so much because if I got $1 for the amount of times I had an email asking of, like, what can I do for my child? He has ADHD, or he's hyperactive all the time. And then I think about what our kids eat and what they go to school and eat. And sorry if you're a teacher, and if you are, hopefully you don't do this, but, like, you give out Skittles for rewards. And then you wonder why your children are bouncing off the walls, misbehaving. That's red dye. All those candies, all those gummies, unless you're buying the organic, non-toxic ones, I mean, you're giving these children red dye and then questioning why on earth that they have hyperactivity or ADHD, or the juices that they drink. I mean, you go through the kids' lunch line at school, and gosh, it just really infuriates me, because we personally, as adults, can make better choices. We're smarter. We have more self-control, more awareness, but our kids don't, right? They have shiny object syndrome. They are in a lunch line and they see some candy over there. They're going to get the candy, or they're going to get the red juice or the red Jello, right? So hard for me to think about this with children. Okay, so beyond hyperactivity in children, behavioral issues just across the board, mood swings, irritability, headaches. I mean, we all get that. Have you ever wondered, like, it may be coming from something you're eating with dyes in it? The potential carcinogenic concerns. So animal studies suggest that links to tumors. Studies are not conclusive for humans, but we're also going to go into maybe when we go into like policies and stuff, we'll talk about why. And then gastrointestinal distress. So some people may get upset stomach, diarrhea, nausea. And I feel like these are symptoms that many of us have. So it can be so confusing if you're just putting something into your body that you shouldn't be every day. Or even...
Did you mention the thyroid, carcinogen, thyroid medullary?
No, because that was a big one for red 3.
Oh, red 3. Oh, okay.
So, but let's go. Okay, then there's red 3. We don't see this as much as red 40, but red 3 has been subject to stricter regulations in some countries due to these concerns. Thyroid tumors in animal studies.
Inconclusive, though. They don't have conclusive data on that.
Right.
That's part of the issue, too. It just hasn't really been looked at in the last decade or so, whatever.
Right.
However long it's been.
High doses have been linked to thyroid tumors in lab animals, leading to partial bans in some regions. I mean,
right.
You know, partial.
Right.
It's tough. Same thing. Hyperactivity and behavioral concerns. Same thing as red 40. Photosensitivity. So some individuals may experience sensitivity to sunlight. Again, allergic reactions. So the FDA has approved these dyes for limited use. But if you know that something has this potential side effect, like why even limit it? Or if the government's not limiting it, why do you want to limit it? Why do you want to just take a little bit of it? That's, you know, it's crazy. The European Union does have regulations that are much stricter. And if a red dye is used, it requires a very strict warning label. So I would think if you're going to buy something, say, it gave an example about the maraschino cherries, right? They're in the red. It gave an example of that, and I don't know this, but in the European Union, they're still allowed to use red dye in there, but it has a smack dab label on it. Now, if you're going to go buy something and then you see a warning label about consuming something, I mean, I would definitely think twice about putting that on my body, right?
Yeah, and I think the states are starting to do that, right? I mean, we see that on a state level now.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's talk about the bans and stuff. Let's talk about the states.
Yeah, some of the states have had to move ahead faster than the FDA. The FDA has been dragging their feet, and the FDA commissioner, and of course, guys, we're talking about America, but again, this is just something, an awareness issue for the world, right? Because it's pervasive everywhere, really, in a lot of ways. But he just simply admitted the fact that the FDA just hasn't had the time or resources or money to allocate to studying and to really kind of identifying these red dyes or any like titanium dioxide or any of these other food additives that are commonly used in our food supply and supplements and, of course, medications. So it's becoming more of an issue now, and I'm glad it finally is. Many of us have known this for years. We've known it. A lot of you guys joining today have known this, right? And so it's time. In some states like New York and California and Illinois and there's more than those, but they've already banned a lot of these. They've banned titanium dioxide and red dye from some of the foods. But I wanted to read you something from the FDA real quick. So it said the FDA states that these artificial colors in your vitamins are added to offset color loss due to exposure to light, air, temperature extremes, moisture, and storage conditions. So they also to correct natural variations in color, enhance colors that occur naturally, provide color to colorless and fun foods.
Fun food.
Right. I don't know about you guys, but do you really care if the color is worn off or doesn't look as vibrant or bright?
Right. But this is the problem. So this came also from the article that we're reading with our daughter. We don't care, right? But children care, right? They love that bright, vibrant color of foods. And in this article talked about Fruit Loops specifically. And Fruit Loops had pulled, I don't remember when they said they did it, but they pulled red dye. Or the dyes from their cereal, and their sales went down. So they went and added the dyes back.
It's crazy.
I mean, it'll blow your mind, that why these dyes are actually in things and makes me crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the FDA actually banned the use of red dye 3 and in cosmetics and topical drugs in 1990. After studies showed the risk of a thyroid tumor. So red 3 is banned in cosmetics and topical drugs in the US,
right? But
not in our food.
Yeah, and that's something. So you can ingest it.
And we all know, what we put on our body, in our body, it all does the same. I mean, Crazy stuff. Yeah, so it says still permitted in food, beverages, and oral medications.
Yeah, look at it's like Jane says, red dye 40 is in cough drops, Doritos, Cheetos, Fruity Pebbles, Skittles. Guys, exactly. I mean, you'll be shocked. They're in vitamins. The Centrum multi, but we actually have it. I'll show
right here,
you.
guys. Centrum. Which one is this? I don't know which ones of Centrum have the dyes in them. Centrum Women. Okay, this is the one I have here specifically. Has red dye 40 in it.
Yeah,
so you're taking something to better your health, but yet you're poisoning yourself in the process. So why is it in here? So it looks pretty in pink, right? Pink. I mean, do we need that? No. And it also said that it's added, that they typically add it to vitamins specifically because some of the ingredients in multivitamins can actually change color. And I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you with our multivitamins. I do get the question often, but yes, there are ingredients in them that change color, the botanicals, the iron.
Right.
So while it might look scary, I mean, I get the question often, like, is that mold? No, it's just the natural process. I mean, but you don't want us to add this pretty red coloring so the whole thing looks nice and pretty and pink, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm watching a lot of your comments. That's why I'm looking down at the computer. I can see it's in pudding and cake mix, right? It's like in confectionery. It's like you can hardly even... I'm telling you, it's wild. Everybody knows this, though.
Yeah.
And that's an answer right here from Sabian. I love this, right? This is the key. You got to do it. You have to be on all organic foods when possible.
Yep. And also, this is a tough one, too, because, when I say it's in medications, specifically the cough syrups and the liquid Tylenols, like our children, our poor babies that can't swallow. Clearly, I mean, you can't swallow a pill until you get a little older.
Right.
We're forced to, if they're running a high fever,
well, now they have
or if they're symptoms, they do have dye-free. So that's what I was going to get to. If you go to the pharmacy, make sure you find it. It's clear.